Okay. Welcome to Lolo's Library, where I talk about webtoons or stories that I personally am reading currently and are obsessed with. So let's get into it. Today we're going to be talking about The Remarried Empress. It is a webtoon original. I know people read it in other places too. Little pirates. But it is also based off of a light novel, I believe. And let me tell you, woo, makes my blood pressure raise every time I read this webtoon. And you know I'm a sucker for having the main character prevail, whether they're good or bad. I mean, I don't know. I'd be a main character. Say, I don't know if there's ever like a main character that I've hated so much. Ever. I don't know. Maybe we'll find it. But this is The Remarried Empress. So let's talk about it. Okay, so we want to talk about our main character, and it's Navier or Navier. I want to call her Navier. She is the Empress of the Eastern Empire, and she is known for always having basically good PR. She knows how to conduct herself, handle herself well, and she knows how to be an empress. Basically, she is in a political marriage with her childhood best friend, who I'm assuming they also have shared like affections with because they're married, and I believe his name is Sovieshu, and he is the emperor of the Eastern Empire. Let me double check if I said that name right. Sovieshu. Let's see, because I have this open so I make sure I say the names right. So he's the current emperor of the empire, basically. And those two are married, and then like all is going well until one day the emperor brings back this girl, right? Who they're calling like a runaway slave. But she's just like, I guess, commoner or airplane. Hold on. Okay, so the emperor Sovieshu, he brings in this girl who ultimately becomes the mistress that he found her. Her name is Rashta. She is trash. She is very pretty, but she comes off like very like naive and childlike, and apparently the king loves this, and it's kind of weird because I'm like, do you like children? Because that's what she comes off of, like aloof, a child, very like, she's one of those people who will be like, aren't you a whore? Hee hee hee. Oh my gosh. And it's like, girl. Okay, so basically like her, I don't know, she's kind of sly. Like she plays like she's this innocent, nice person and like down to earth, but like she has underlying intentions. So I guess in a way she's kind of smart when dealing with that. So basically Sovieshu brings in Rashta, and the Empress is just like, at first she doesn't really realize like what it is until like she realizes. So her ladies in waiting are like, yeah, he brought this runaway slave in, blah blah blah, this and that, and the Empress is like, well, your highness is just generous. He's generous, he's graceful. I'm pretty sure it's nothing. Girl, it was something, because the way that he started treating her, the longer she stayed and started blaming the queen and talking down to the Empress, talking down to Navier, it pissed me off. And stinking Rashta was getting bold and a little beside herself, to the point where she was like, oh, can I call you sister? We share the same husband now. And I was like, oh. Even the advisor were like, girl, what are you saying? But basically like Rashta did a lot of things to try and sabotage Navier, and she was trying to secure her spot, because it turns out that she was a runaway slave. And ultimately you would think Sovieshu would get rid of her. No, he knew, and he tried to keep it hidden around the palace grounds. And then Navier knew too, but she was like, that's not my business. That's not my business. The thing about Navier is people will probably say like she is she shows no emotion or has no effect or this or that, and I guess that's what Sovieshu was like with her. He was like, you're too serious all the time, you don't show emotion, I want a wife, not a business partner. And I'm like, but basically your guys is like marriage is kind of like that. But the thing with Navier is she does have emotions, but she just doesn't show them because she feels like as the Empress she has to always put on a good front. Like you can see there are times like in the webtoon where she is like down crying, but she'll never let anybody know, and she'll hold it in because she has this image that she feels like she has to uphold for the betterment of her empire. Cut to, there is this really hot prince that is coming to visit, and his name is Henry. And what we know that she doesn't know that he is a part of the bird brain clan. So he's a shifter, he can transform into a bird, and he goes under guise as his messenger bird, and he sends messages to Navier, and they become pen pals, and they send messages back and forth. The whole time it's him though, and I think his cousin / his right hand man can also transform too into a bluebird. So Pentire, he has at first it was initial curiosity with her, but then as we go longer into the story, he is infatuated with her. And the thing about Sovieshu is when Prince Henry comes to visit, he notices this and he tries to call her out. He says, oh, so you'll just do any foreign man, huh? I don't care if you have a mistress or not, I mean a lover or not, but don't let it be him. And he keeps coming at her every time she talks to like an advisor or a duke from the southern region, love him, or Henry or anybody. He'll be like, oh, you'll do you have a thing for foreign men, like he'll under the guise of he is jealous. But it's like, why are you jealous when all you do is dote on Rashta and treat her bad? It's like, oh, I can do this, but you can't be with anybody else that you actually want. Like you can't have your cake and eat it too. So basically down the line we learned that Rashta gets pregnant, so she gets promoted to actual concubine, and she's really trying to secure her spot. And also Navier and Sovieshu have not been able to have a child since the time they've been married, and he even let her know that too. And he kind of used it as a dig, like something was wrong with her. He was like, I thought it was something wrong with me, but apparently not, because Rasha's pregnant. That baby will not be legitimate. So we're gonna skip forward. You know what he tries to do? He comes up with a plan, and he basically plans to divorce Navier and marry Rasha and make her the Empress. So the baby could be legitimate. And he's like, I'm gonna put my baby first. And of course Navier is like, she's like, I never thought this would ever happen. Like she was fine. She did not care that I feel like she did care, but she put on the front like, it's none of my business. It's none of my business what you have to do with your mistress. And like he kept trying to push Rashta on her like we're gonna be some happy freaking sister wife family. This isn't TLC. But the second that she overheard them talking about how he was gonna divorce her, she started putting plans into action. And you can see like Henry, he wanted to be with Navier anyway, so he was like, good, now I don't have to invade the empire. So they made like a little marriage coup, and she decided that she was going to get with him. So comes the day, the priest is very sad. He doesn't understand it. The people of the Eastern Empire don't understand it either. But ultimately he calls for divorce. Whatever, I don't care about her name. Rashta, she tries to fake like, oh, I'm so sad, I wish she didn't do it to you. But then you see her like smiling in the background because she secured Empress and she secured something for her baby, which is what she really wanted to do in the first place. Like she was pissed off that the baby wasn't going to be like a prince or a princess, but now the baby technically will. So they do the divorce, and he makes the decree, and she goes, Navier says, I accept. And then Sovieshu was like, whew, I feel bad, but this is for the best. The thing about So Yeshu, he didn't tell Navier about this plan at all. And what he also didn't say was that he was only gonna have Rashta be the Empress for about 1 to 2 years to solidify the baby's legitimacy. And then he was gonna go back and marry and reinstate Navier. First of all, that's rude. You think she's really gonna come back to you after you've treated her like crap, tried to say she was infertile, let Rashta drag her down, and then you always take Rashta's side and you think she would want to come back to you? Bollocks. So basically that was his plan, but he didn't expect Navier to say, I accept, but can I be allowed to marry someone else? And he said, what? Who are you gonna marry? And then in comes Heinrich. So Heinrich is like, haha, is this the part where I come in? So he walks through, and so Yeshu was not having it. He was not having it, but the priest already decreed. They got technically legally married in the Eastern Empire, but then they were going to set to have a wedding in the Western Empire. So Yeshu is pissed off, like really pissed off. He tries to keep them locked up in this one estate, but Heinrich's best friend, who they always be talking shit about each other while they're not in each other's presence, I don't get it, but he helped them escape to the Western Empire. So basically, so Yeshu goes mad because he cannot stand seeing her with the sight of Heinrich. Heinrich is obsessed with her, as he should be. And then Navier has other things to deal with over there in the Empire, like being like the Eastern Empire not really liking her anymore, the Western Empire not being used to her, the Western Kingdom, which Heinrich turns into a Western Empire because they have that much power, and he didn't offer her because he's like, she deserved to be an Empress. He's that guy. But she has to deal with becoming the Western Empress, and also dealing with the former queen, because Heinrich's brother passed away, which automatically made Heinrich the king, now emperor of the Western Kingdom. So she has to deal with the widowed queen, former queen, still trying to keep holds of power. And then she's weird too, because you know, she actually has a thing for Heinrich. So it's too much drama going on. And then she gets, Navier gets 2 extra ladies in waiting, and I think we're at a standstill with I told you how Yeshu, they attended each other's weddings. So Yeshu and Rashta had their wedding, and then Navier and Heinrich went to theirs, but then Heinrich and Navier had their wedding, and Yeshu and Rashta went to their wedding. And I think Yeshu, after everything, they had their first night, Heinrich and Navier, but on the balcony. Yeshu was going through it, and he freaking was in a drunken stupor. He was calling out Navier's name while she was getting her bump and grind on, and he almost like flew off the balcony, and Rashta was like, he's really going through it. So he really still does have feelings for his former wife. I have to protect my baby and myself no matter what happens. And you could see like throughout it, he's kind of regretting his actions. He even comes to her sometimes and tells her like, you don't need, I don't want to see you married with anybody else, just come back to me. And he explained everything to her. She's like, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. And it's like, be careful for what you wish for, because you like think you got everything you did, but you did not. And Rashta is, you can see too, like the change in Rashta. Oh, and she also has a secret baby with her former slave owner's son. T. But you can see like the change in Yeshu, how he used to be so infatuated with her. Nothing she could do was wrong. Anything she said he would do, jump hoops, this and that. Over time, he started getting tired of it. And you can see his facial expressions change. Airplane. You can see how his facial expressions change, how he doesn't have time for it anymore. He even tells her at one point, I know it's because you're from different calibers and you can never be up to par to Naviera, but I think you should at least have some tact. And I was like, it's what she deserves. But I love this because I love how it started off with the bat, like in the book, how it says, like, I want a divorce, and she's like, yes, but can I marry him? Like, you were playing checkers and Naviera was playing chess. And I'm glad that they didn't make the main lead sit there and wallow, go through her depression phase, and then like somebody comes and swoops her off her feet and saves her. In a way, Heinrich did, but she always like that noggin. One time for the smart main characters. And I think it's up to chapter 132. I know I left out some like pieces and tidbits, and it's a really good read because I want you guys to read it. So that is The Remarried Empress, and I'll talk to you guys later.